Now, in the Western Cape, tensions between farm workers have spilled out into the streets of Robertson, Nkqubela township. Lesotho and Zimbabwe nationals have been fighting over scarce job opportunities in that area. The police and Labour Department have now stepped in to try and quell that violence. Let's hear from the Western Cape's Labour Department's Chief Inspector, David Esau, who is going to be telling us how bad the situation is and really just if there's a way forward. Thank you very much for your time this morning, David. Maybe let's start with that. How bad is the situation?
Well, I was actually surprised to see how bad the situation is, because when we arrived there on Thursday and on Friday, the situation was really bad in that a number of locals had to flee back to the town, and the town was flocked with people who were trying to get away from where the chaos was erupting.
No, absolutely. And I mean, when we look at the issue, the big issue here is the scarce job opportunities. Unfortunately, it's a nationwide problem. And so one would think that the violence that is ensuing over this issue is it's a challenging situation because there is no easy solution here, is there?
No, there isn't. But then there's also a law that you must follow. And if you don't adhere to our laws, then you'll face the consequences. And I think if the parties involved had followed the right processes, we would not have had the situation.
And what would those processes have looked like, David?
The first thing is that when a farmer, and we're talking agriculture here, when the farmer anticipates that he's going to need in excess of 100 or 200 people, he should follow a process called a corporate work permit process, which he needs to apply to with us and Department of Home Affairs. We then test the conditions and we test the availability of local labor first before we approve. And in this case, that process was not followed at all. And I cannot accept the fact that ignorance is an excuse of the law. It cannot be that way. And therefore, that's why we feel we need to take this kind of action.
No, absolutely. And maybe just furnish us with the details of the action that you'll be taking as a Department of Labour, because as you correctly say, you cannot claim ignorance. This is a serious matter, and it does affect the livelihoods of many people.
Indeed, and that's why I was shocked at the numbers. And when we looked at our records, we could not find any application from anybody for a corporate permit. And so the first thing we're going to do is to determine how these people got in, and secondly, on what grounds were they employed by the farmers. And in this case, we are being told that there are labor brokers involved. Labor brokers, by its very nature, needs to be registered with the Department of Labour. And we've had this agreement with the Department of Agriculture as well as Agri Western Cape that they would not allow unregistered labor brokers to bring labor onto the farms. And that is quite disturbing when I find out. And therefore, our target will be the labor brokers who brought these people in, but also the farmers who then accepted people on their farms when in fact they knew these people were undocumented at all.
No, absolutely. So after the investigation that you've just detailed there, what is the course of action that you would be taking potentially against these employers?
Well, our work is to ensure that these workers, because any worker that works in South Africa is protected by the laws of South Africa. So we will make sure that these people get the correct payments that they deserve. That's number one. Number two, with the help of Immigration and Home Affairs, because this is a collaboration between us, Home Affairs and SAPS. And Home Affairs would have the powers to arrest people who have exercised these things, who have employed people that are undocumented, that has brought people into the country undocumented. And that's a process that Home Affairs will follow. Ours is to just provide them with the information.
No, absolutely. Are there concerns that this issue perhaps goes beyond the agricultural sector? I mean, it's something that is being brought into the spotlight now, but are there concerns by the department that this may be happening in other sectors of the economy as well?
Well, you've recently heard about the trucking business. It's happening in the trucking sector. It's happening in the restaurants. And about a month ago, we targeted restaurants, and we have submitted that report to the media as well. So we are beginning to see the sporadic turn up in different sectors, and this is the biggest that we've seen in a while. And we actually had a meeting with the municipality on Monday, because our intention is to promote the services of the Department of Labor, which is to employ people. And that's why our name has changed from Department of Labor to Department of Employment and Labor, because we want to help in the process of employment. And for people then to circumvent that part of our processes, I think is just illegal, and people need to be dealt with.
David, should there not be some accountability taken by the department in that this has been happening for a while? So perhaps a lack of oversight in some instances, that a lot of employers have been bypassing systems and getting away with this?
Well, we can't be everywhere. If you look at the ratio of number of inspectors we have against the number of workplaces, then one would understand that. But we have tried to form partnerships, and there's no way you can tell me that the people on the ground, your community leaders, your councillors, your municipalities did not know about this. And why did they not report this matter to us? So when we met on Monday, we only became aware of the extent of this problem on Monday, and we immediately acted on this thing. And you can now see what is the repercussions of us acting. We have indeed, after the media release on Friday, have received so many calls of different regions where people are now being moved. So one would understand the seasons in the Western Cape, and therefore these are almost like people who move throughout the Western Cape during different seasons, and the legality of that needs to be tested throughout the whole Western Cape.
David, and of course the hope is that there will be some added resources to increase the capacity of the department, just so we can curb this issue and, like you say, make sure that employees are treated and remunerated fairly by their employers. Thank you very much for your time this morning. That is David Esau from the Labour Department in the Western Cape, talking us through issues around illegal workers being forced to work for basically nothing, and of course employers getting away with this for a while.